You don't need to be forced to comply. Most of the time, you already are. Not because someone told you to, not because you were threatened, but because the path you are walking was already designed. And the most important part is this: you don't feel it. People assume compliance comes from authority, from orders, from rules, from visible control. But authority is inefficient. It creates resistance. It requires enforcement. It exposes itself. Systems do not optimize for effort. They optimize for continuity. So instead of forcing behavior, they shape it. You are not choosing freely. You are choosing from what is available. And what is available is not neutral. Every system defines a field of options, a boundary of behavior, a range of acceptable movement. Outside of that boundary, nothing stops you. Things simply becomes harder, slower, more uncertain, more costly, and that is enough. Most decisions are not made through resistance. They are made through ease. A path does not need to be mandatory if it is the easiest one to take. This is not control, it is design. And design does something more powerful than force. It removes the need for instruction. When environment is structured correctly, behavior aligns automatically. No command is required. And that is where compliance becomes invisible. You are not being told what to do. You are being positioned. The second assumption is that people comply because they are rewarded or punished. But reward and punishment are rarely explicit. They are embedded. Access, opportunity, time, visibility. These are not neutral variables. They are signals. Signals that tell you what works, and people move toward what works. Not because they were instructed, but because they learned. This is no manipulation. It is calibration. A system adjusting probability, increasing the likelihood of certain behaviors while reducing others, until deviation becomes unlikely. Not impossible, just inefficient. And inefficiency is avoided. The third assumption is that resistance is suppressed. But suppression is expensive, so systems take a different approach. They introduce friction, not barriers, not walls, delays, complications, extra steps. The path still exists, but it becomes heavier, and weight changes behavior. You can resist, but doing so costs you time, energy, opportunity, and cost determines decisions. So most people adjust, not because they agree, but because it is easier. And this is where the shift happens. Compliance stops feeling like obedience. It starts feeling like choice. And choice is rarely questioned. At this point, the system no longer needs to guide you, because you begin to guide yourself. You anticipate, you adapt, you adjust in advance. Before any rule is applied, before any consequence appears. And that is where compliance becomes internal, not enforced, not imposed, expected. You are no longer responding to the system. You are operating within it. And within that structure, your decisions feel like your own, but they are bounded, defined, pre-shaped. You can move, but only within the architecture. You can choose, but only among available paths. You can resist, but at a cost. And cost determines behavior. This is the quiet architecture of compliance. No force, no pressure, no command. Only structure, only design, only probability. And when structure is consistent, behavior becomes predictable. When behavior becomes predictable, control becomes unnecessary, because the most efficient system is not the one that forces compliance. It is the one where compliance feels like choice. And the moment it feels like choice, you stop questioning it. Not because you agree, but because it works. And what works is rarely challenged. You are not forced to comply. You are structured to. And most of the time, you will defend the structure, as if it were your own decision.